For today's lesson, we will continue converting fractions and decimals into percentages and taking percentages and converting them into fractions. And the standard that we'll be addressing today is listed here, 6RP3C. So in our previous lesson, we were able to convert fractions into percents by getting that denominator to be 100. But unfortunately, not all fractions have a denominator that's a factor or multiple of 100. So we will need to take an alternative route to get that percentage. Since percents are out of 100, we take our fraction and we multiply it by 100. So that would give us 2/3 times 100 over 1, which is 200 over 3. 200 thirds is, of course, an improper fraction, so we need to convert our improper fraction to a mixed number. 3 goes into 26 times. 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. 3 goes into 20 again 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Excuse me. So now we have all the pieces. We just need to put our mixed number together. So the quotient is our whole number. So that is 66. So whatever we get up here, that is the whole number to our mixed number. And then our remainder is the numerator. So whatever we get down here as our remainder, that will be the numerator of our fraction. And the denominator, of course, stays the same. So in this case, the 3 would be our denominator. So if we have 4/7, we're going to multiply that by 100 over 1. That gives us 400 over 7. And so we're going to follow the same steps we did previously. We're going to convert that improper fraction to a mixed number. 7 goes into 45 times. 5 times 7 is 35. 40 minus 35 is 5. 7 goes into 50 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49. So now we just put all our pieces together and we would find a percentage of 57 and 1/7%. Excuse me. So for number 2, we have a mixed number. So we're going to start by converting that into an improper fraction. So we take 9 times 1 to get 9, plus 5 is 14. So that gives us 14/9 times 100 over 1, which is 1,400 over 9. So just like in the previous problems, we're going to take numerator and divide it by our denominator. 9 goes into 14 one time. 9 goes into 50 5 times. And 9 goes into 50 5 times again. So our percentage would be 155 and 5/9. For number 3, we have 5/6. We're going to multiply that by 100 over 1, which gives us 500 over 6. Now we could have simplified the 6 and the 100, but we can just do our multiplication first and then divide at the end. And so we take numerator divided by denominator, so 500 divided by 6. 6 goes into 58 times. 6 goes into 23 times. Excuse me. So we put it together. We have 83 and 2/6, which of course simplifies down to 83 and 1/3. I'm going to scroll this down a little bit so I have a little more room to work on number 4 here. So 1 7/8, we of course have a mixed number, so we're going to convert that to an improper fraction. And that improper fraction would be 15/8, because 8 times 1 is 8, plus 7 is 15. I'm going to multiply that by 100 over 1, should be 1,500 over 8. And again, we could have simplified, or we can simplify early, or we can simplify at the end. I've decided to simplify at the end. 8 goes into 15 once. 8 goes into 70 8 times. 8 goes into 67 times. And so we would have 187 and 4/8, which simplifies down to 187 and 1/2%. If we have a decimal, we can convert our decimal into percent by two methods. One method is the same as before, but instead of taking a fraction times 100, we take our decimal times 100. And so 7 times 0 is 0, 7 times 0 is 0, 7 times 1 is 7. And we need 2 digits after the decimal point. So we put it there, which gives us a percentage of 7%. For method 2, we take our decimal and we first convert it into a fraction. Well, 0.07 as a decimal is 7 hundredths. So we could write that as a fraction of 7 hundredths, which would be 7%. And the super secret third method is somewhat similar to method 1, but if you'll notice, we essentially just took our decimal point, we moved it 2 places to the right, and that is the super secret third method. So for method 1, we have 0.82, we take 0.82 times 100, which would give us 82%, or 0.82 is 82 hundredths, which would be 82%. Or once again, we can just take our decimal point, move it 2 places to the right. So 6 would give us 4%, 7 would give us 98%, and number 8, which is a very commonly missed one, is actually 60%. The most common incorrect answer for that one is 6%, because you forget to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So now we want to take our percents and convert them into fractions. Well, to go from fraction to percent, we multiply by 100. So if we're going from percent to fraction, we should do the opposite of that, which is divide by 100. So we would have 33 1/3 divided by 100. So we're going to take our mixed number and convert that into an improper fraction, which would be 100 over 3. 3 times 33 is 100, or is 99, and then 99 plus 1 is 100. And we're going to divide that by 100 over 1. So when dividing by fractions, you remember those 3 little words: keep, which means keep the first number the same, times, convert division to multiplication, and turn, which means we use the reciprocal of the second fraction. The hundreds would cancel each other out, so you're left with 1/3. I'm going to scroll this down a little bit so I have a little more room to work for part B. Express 40.2% as a fraction in simplest form. So let's start by converting that decimal into a mixed number. So that'd be 40 2/10. You could simplify that down to 40 1/5 if you wanted to. It's perfectly fine. And we're going to do the same thing that we did in part A, and we will divide by 100. So we'll convert 40 2/10 into an improper fraction, which would be 402 over 10, and we'd have 100 over 1. Need just a little more room. Excuse me. So keep times turn. 402 times 1 is 402. 10 times 100 is 1,000. And then, of course, if we haven't done so by this point, we do need to simplify this. They are both even numbers, so we can divide those by 2 to get 201 5/100ths. So for number 9, if we have 83 1/3 and we want to convert that into a fraction, so we're going to take 83 1/3 divided by 100. So that would be 250 over 3. 83 times 3 is 249. 249 plus 1 is 250. And divide that by 100 over 1. Keep times turn. We could simplify here. We can simplify at the end. Either way, it's fine. 250 over 300. They both end in 0, so we can cross those off. 25 and 30 are both multiples of 5, so we divide by 5 to get 5/6. 84 and 4/10, so we could rewrite that as 84 and 4/10 divided by 100. Should be 844 over 10. Getting ahead of myself there. Divided by 100 over 1. Excuse me. Keep times turn. 844 times 1 is 844. 10 times 100 is 1,000. So again, we can see that these are both even numbers. So you can divide those by 2 to get 422 over 500. Those are both even numbers, so we can divide by 2 again to get 211 250ths. And then our final 3 here, with number 13, where we have 5.75%, if we want to convert that into a fraction, it does help if we know our fraction and decimal equivalents. And we should know that 75/100ths is equivalent to 3/4. And if you know that, it just speeds things up for you, because it takes a lot of the simplifying work out for you. So that would be 23/4 divided by 100 over 1, just 23/4 times 1 over 100, which would be 23/400ths. Just makes it a little bit more efficient and streamlines the process for you. Knowing that 25/100ths is 1/4 can help you out as well. So this would be 341 over 4. Which would be 341 over 4 times 1 over 100, which is 341/400ths. And it takes a lot of simplifying out if you know those fractional equivalents of those decimals. And then finally, number 17, just to do another practice, when you have that mixed number, we take 42 times 8, and then you add the numerator. So you'd have 339 over 8 divided by 100 over 1, which would be 339/8 times 1/100th, which is 339/800ths. And that's all for today's lesson. As always, I hope this helps.